The COVID-19 crisis has put a lot of pressure on all the European governments and economic sectors, and of course also on European legislators and regulators. How to respond to it, how to support national responses, how to support specific sectors that have been hit particularly hard. As far as the banking sector is concerned, the greatest challenge for the European banking system and also for the regulators and the policymakers has been to make sure that banks are and keep being a part of the solution and not of the problem. So this meant and will mean being able to balance flexibility and safety, be flexible but prudent. I believe that so far the European and national supervisors and regulators have responded with rapidity and flexibility, adapting the regulatory framework in a way that has made it possible for the banking sector to respond well, to hold on, and to be part of the solution. That's what we've seen. In recent months, banks have been key players in the strategies of almost all countries in the EU. The moratorium on loans and other relief measures have prevented the crisis caused by the COVID-19 from being further amplified to the real economy. Now we will need to continue on this path. How to do that? Well, monitoring carefully, listening, cooperating together to act swiftly and effectively when needed and possibly before certain needs come up. So this is the work, this is the spirit that we should put in our work in the next months. Of course, the health and economic emergency does not eliminate the priorities and the challenges that we had prior to the pandemic. One of them, a crucial one, is the transition towards a more sustainable economy, which I believe can only be achieved if we have a strong and fully functioning sustainable finance. In Parliament, we have worked and we keep working very hard on this front, on which I think we have three main priorities at this stage. First of all, we need to foster convergence towards common definitions and concepts of sustainability. A big leap forward has been made with the taxonomy regulation, which I think that once fully implemented will play a key role in aligning the incentives towards genuine greener investments. The second aspect is that we need transparency, information symmetry and disclosure so that investors should be able to rely on clear and consistent information. And on this regard, I think both disclosure and taxonomy regulation started to address these problems, but now it's time to tackle also the non-financial reporting directive in order to complete the frame. And the third step is, of course, we will also need to develop a consistent and forward-looking assessment on the risk and returns related to investments, which means assessing the risk related to the transition, but also physical risk. So assessing the risk in a long-term perspective, it is very important. We are at a very crucial time in our history. We have to face really tough challenges and to accompany important transformation. So we need to make sure that this transformation happen in a sustainable way. And by sustainable, I mean not only environmentally sustainable, as I said, this is crucial, but also socially sustainable. We are observing increasing divergences, discrimination, poverty. We need to make sure that the transformation we are facing will narrow these inequalities and not widening them. So this is another important issue. And on this regard, I do believe that banks have a crucial role, especially cooperative banks. I believe you really have a critical role. I was reading a paper recently, it was just published in an academic journal. It's a study of Italian local credit markets over a 10-year period. And I was quite surprised that this study finds that cooperative banks mitigate income inequality in local communities more than their commercial counterparts. According to this study, it is a specific nature and orientation of cooperative banks that improve income distribution. This is a very important finding, a very important mission that you have, and I hope that you will keep. So thank you for what you're doing for our communities, and keep up the good work.